scientific progress. So most people in Europe at that time were mostly religious, superstitious. That's the witches were being burned on the stake. All type of things were done. So some group of Europeans decided to do what they call the Renaissance. They said, let's go back to our ancestral period, get the best of our ideas, the best of our philosophy, the best of our ancestral philosophy, and bring it into our present reality for one reason only: to make progress. And they did that with literature, writing, science, scientific investigation. They traveled around the world and brought ideas that led to modern European development. So I'm saying, let's move away now, like the orator was saying, from complaining, for talking about what is wrong with Liberia. We already know what's wrong. We already know that the infrastructures are not there. We already know with bad governance is a problem. We already know that the political system is designed to enrich the 1%. We already know that our leaders are making bad deals with business people, with foreign investors. They are selling our country, making concessions that are not favoring the ordinary Liberian people. We already know we don't have factories. We don't have infrastructure. We don't have power to be able to drive the industrial revolution. We know all these challenges. But we are now saying, let us now move toward the Liberian Renaissance, reviving the dream of our founding fathers. What was that? What are we basing the Renaissance on? We are basing it on the best Liberia had from the beginning. The founding fathers were focused on education. You cannot fix a nation without fixing the educational institution. It's not just enough to say, I pay YS school fees. No. The curriculum itself, the educational curriculum, have to be revived. Looked at it. How do we tailor the national consciousness towards science and technology and innovation? Let us design our curriculum in a way that it will be more focused on innovation, science. It will be focused on vocational skills. Now, students graduating and speaking politics, everybody is a politician. Very few people are electricians. Very few people are mason. Very few people are just to. There was a program they had at the SKD Stadium, just to connect the speaker to the amplifiers and the system, the sound system. They had to bring people from Ghana. They have to bring people from Ghana to connect your speakers to our programs. If there is a computer problem in the country, do we have software designer to fix it? Do we have computer engineers? If we want to build our roads, do we have engineers to do it? Do we have architects to design our building to reflect our culture? You see, we don't want the Chinese coming to build for us. It's time now to do a Liberian Renaissance. Begin with education. Let's fix the national curriculum in a way that it focuses towards science, technology, and innovation. Because what we are trying to do is to build a nation where the black man can stand tall. That was the dream. From education, we go to economy. You see, we can't continue to be complaining. We have to look at it. How did the rest of the world do it? How did Singapore, that we were at the same level of, became a developed a first-class nation today? How did they do it? How is Rwanda, right there in Africa, after the genocide, they had the same war that we had? How did one man, Kagame, build the infrastructure of that country, made it one of the cleanest countries in Africa today with good infrastructure? How did he do it? You see, how does Egypt, you see, generating electricity? Just within a few years, they are able to increase their national grid, to be able to supply the entire nation with electricity, and that is now pushing their industrial revolution. A country in a desert. How did they do it? These are things that we start thinking about. Establish study group, people that will be able to study, so that we will be able to come together and say, sir, this is how the national philosophy should be, the national development, this is how the direction we should follow. Because you see, development don't just happen by building one road there, building one school there, people clap for you, get few zing there. No, there are some critical national projects that must be undertaken. When these projects are undertaken, they now become the foundation for what you call development. Number one, if you want industrial revolution, you have to fix electricity and power. Invest any kind of millions of dollars you can invest in that. Fix the power sector. once the country have strong power energy supply, is you have already solved major problem for that country. You have succeeded, in fact, in bringing the country into the 21st century. Deal with power. You see, the economy, the local people will be able to do their businesses. They will no longer need government job because they can self-employ, they can build their X-bar and then be able to sell their cold water. They have abundant electricity. The welder, all these people that are farmers, they will be able to store their crops because there's abundance of electricity. Even mechanized farming will increase. Fix that problem. You see, not just one government, when another government comes, then they abandon. No, this is a national project that even if one government go, another government comes, they continue on the project because it's consistency that leads to development. Fix power. You see, education, number one, fix the people because it is the people who tailor the development. If you don't fix the people, then you are fixing the land for foreigners. So fix the people. That's through the educational sector. They fix the economy by fixing power. Don't complicate it. Just fix the electricity for us. Once you've done that, you've already solved one major problem. And then push the nation towards production, not just consumption. We should produce. First thing you begin with is that the clothes that we politicians are going to wear, we make sure that those clothes are made in Liberia. We make sure that all these our African gowns that we want to wear, they call it the senator suit, we don't buy it from China. Let us, our local producer, then to be making these fabrics for us so that we start wearing it. By that dollar, that thousands of dollars that we give to the Chinese, when we start giving it to our local people to make those clothes for us, the money start going around. Okay? Even waste basket, things that will pick up garbage on the street, where we will put our trash can. You can ask a Liberian mechanic and this audio welder to say, design a locally made waste basket for us. We don't want to import waste basket all the way from China. You're trying to fix it with available raw material. Your furniture's in your offices. Don't go to Dubai and buy furniture for our offices. Go to Grand Jida, go to the paper that are making furniture. Go there and say, make a Liberian made furniture. Let me put it in my office. By increasing that old man business from being a $300 business, you have increased it to a $5,000 business. That paper has going to affect the lives of so many people around him. That's how you help your people. So there has to be a renaissance, self-reliance. We have to be self-reliance. We have to focus on production. We have to produce. We can't always be consuming, down to the chicken soup we put in our soup, we import, down to onions, you import, salt, you import, everything you want to import. What are you going to produce? You see, and you cannot succeed anywhere in the world, even an individual. The only way to succeed is either you produce or you have skills and services to provide. If you cannot produce something for the world to buy, you must have skills and expertise that you can sell for the world to buy. If you don't have some of the two things, then you are going nowhere. Even as we as individuals living our life, it's either you have skills to offer, then you get good money, or you have manufactured something, invented something to sell, and people buy. That's how Elon Musk then became billionaires. That is how Bill Gates then became billionaires. They invented something. And those who did not invent are doctors, they are engineers, they offer their skills. So a nation is like that. Either a nation produces something that the world needs, they buy it, then that nation becomes prosperous, or the nation provides quality skills, train people with skills so that the world is in need of those skills. That's how India is supplying people with doctors. Cuba is supplying people with doctors. So we must be able to create a national philosophy and say, okay, Liberia in West Africa, we will focus to be the best medical doctors. Let's create our national curriculum or philosophy more focused towards that. Or we will be the best engineers. You have to do something. You don't just say that and things happen by chance. You design it. Indians decided to go into IT. Long ago, the leader before Modi decided that India would focus to become an IT nation so that anyone that needs information technology or medical doctor, they will have to come to India. And they pump resources toward that direction. They send people on scholarship to study in this field. Today, there is no IT firm in the world where you don't find Indians. It was done consciously. It was planned. Resources were put into that. Institutions were built to support that. That's how they got there. We can say in West Africa, we want to be expert in this particular area. And we begin to build our schools and sponsor people to focus in that field. Before you know it, every West African nation is looking for a Liberian to serve in that sector. This is the way we would do it. So, fellow, the Liberian Renaissance, rediscovery of Liberian history, rediscovery of Liberia's dream, the Liberian dream, a dream of liberty and freedom. Liberia is not supposed to be a nation where children cannot afford 3 square meals a day. Liberia is the big brother of Africa. Liberia should be the Mecca of Black people all around the world to say, let's go and see where the Black man first decided to become president. That's the country. We are a unique country for a reason, and that reason is what we must build. It's not about singing praises for politicians. It's about we all coming together doing the right thing. This Liberian Renaissance, if it is put into document, research is done. Because if you want to do development, you need to follow scientific data. You need to be sincere to yourself. You need to have all the right people in the right place, have the data. We are focusing on this project. We do it, from there we move to this project. Gradually, you move your nation out of poverty. China was able to move hundreds of millions of people out of poverty within just between 1980. You see, just between 1980 to now. They did it. They planned it. And they implemented the so-called Millennium Development Goal that the United Nations is passing around. There are so many documents flying around that you can look at it and implement it. Follow it to the letter. You will see that you are going to transform the nation. The transformation of any nation has to be with thoughtful leader with vision. Liberia can do it. Liberia has all it takes. We already have the foundation for it. We already have the philosophy just to revive it so that every Liberian know that that dignity, there's something they should live for, and there's something they are all working towards. The land of liberty and freedom, a land where you can come and speak freely, a land where your rights can be protected, a land where any Black man, when you come there, irrespective of your tribe, of your religion, your dignity is preserved. That is the land. That is the land. The promised land is what we should have made Liberia. And I think we can still do that. That's why people must be able to stop the toxic politics, adversarial politics. Either we are in power or we destroy it. If we are not in government, then that government, we must try to make it that it doesn't succeed. That's not a patriotic way to move. Like my brother Henry Costa way of politics. That's not advocacy. That's not loving your country. That's been toxic. That's just trying to be adversarial politics, creating the hate. We can do constructive criticism. We can be able to analyze, produce the data, and say, President, you did not do that. We are not seeing the jobs. Here are the numbers. We are not seeing the infrastructure. Here are the numbers. You can debate numbers. That's why science is very simple. Science, there is no argument. There is no belief or disbelief. I provide the data is number. 1 + 1 is 2. If you say you provide more kilometer roads, all we need to do is to go to the national data and look at it. How many kilometer roads were there before you took power? How many kilometer roads are there now? No debate. Hey, housing, we'll go to there and see how many housing projects you have undertaken. In terms of electricity, how many megawatts you've added to the grid. There is no debate. When we look at this data, we can tell you for sure. We look at the currency and look at the exchange rate with the dollar. How was it before you came in, and how is it now? We look at food prices. How was it before you came, and how is the food price now? We can evaluate from there and tell you whether you fail or not. You can't debate those facts. So, ladies and gentlemen, towards a Liberian Renaissance, for me, it's not about pro-poll. You know, when I hear things like pro-poll, I think things, agenda like pro-poll, beautiful, catchy phrase. I think those are things that certain civil rights group should be using such philosophy, that they are pro-poll, they are pro this, they are pro that. These are civil rights organizations. A government should have a philosophy, A government should have a policy. A government should be able, and these policies and philosophy should be things that raise the consciousness of the people from where it was to another level. It's not something that tell them that try to reassure them to remain where they are, or to have self-pity, or to have a kind of a blame people for their problem. No, a national philosophy, a national program and project should be something that will push people towards doing better, push people towards doing something great. So I think a Liberian Renaissance, reviving the Liberian dream, as even research questions, because a young man in university want to know what is the Liberian Renaissance. Then they try to research, and that they themselves will come up with new idea. What is reviving the Liberian dream? What was the dream? Oh, so I live in a country, the country had a dream. What was the dream? Every Liberian want to know that dream. And by knowing the dream, they want to contribute to it. What is pro-poor? You are pro-poor people? Are we poor? No, we are not poor. We are being impoverished. Because you twist the philosophy when you say pro-poor. I say we are naturally poor. We are not poor people. We are being impoverished. How are we being impoverished? By bad governance, by bad leadership, by incompetent leaders, by failed projects and failed policies. Now, the people should be in question at the leader, not the poor, the so-called poor people. So you talk about reviving the dream, the national renaissance and philosophy. So you focus on this mega project that will eventually lead to our development. So ladies and gentlemen, I will stop here for today. Let us all work together towards a Liberian Renaissance. I say happy Independence Day to all Liberians across the world. 175 years. So far, so good. We've had our moment of low. We have our moment where things were better. Liberia will do it. Definitely it will do it, because so long as there is a dream, as long as there is the philosophy, you cannot kill a dream. As long as the dream is there and there are people who hold the dream, you will never kill it. It will come one day. The generation that will revive Liberia dream, that generation is coming. When it comes, you will see it. You will feel it. It's not a prophetic or religious prophecy, but you will begin to know how they start questioning stuff. And I think that generation start with us. We will start questioning the national flag. We want a Pan-African flag of Marcus Garvey. We don't want the flag that reflects our slave enslavement in America. We don't want streets and cities named after slave owners. We want name and street cities named after our traditional rulers, our king, and those who died trying to fight against slavery, those who fought against our civil rights leader, those who fought to bring our democracy strong. These are the people we want to name our street, our institutions after, not James Monroe, a slave owner. We will begin to revive institutions. Our son will be fighting towards justice. That's why you see Liberians who are fighting and say there must be economic and war crime code. You see Liberians fighting for these things. This is national consciousness. It's telling you that the new generation is very conscious about justice. So that's something positive. You see the 19 billion protests. It happened sometime a few years back. It was to show that Liberians are now, they understand that corruption is the main issue in the country. That if they don't deal with corruption, there will be no solution. They are starting to protest against corruption. You see, so these are positive things that we all need to tap into. The media, like focus on Liberia, promoting education, promoting science, promoting information, and being objective as possible, trying to hold the leader accountable, going to the national legislature, holding the leader's feet to fire. These are things we will continue to push up. These are all part of the Liberian Renaissance. So we should be that generation that will move this country forward and defeat tribalism. Tribalism has never helped any nation in the world. I have never heard of a tribal group that have defeated their fellow tribe to build a utopian state. We are of the same people, same race, same historical background. We have the same struggle. We have the same ancestors. We have the same ancestral origin. Our culture are similar than different. So to put people together and say, oh, we are tribal, we are dividing ourselves into tribes, we are doing ourselves disservice. The European defeated their tribes in order for them to become who they are. So tribalism must be defeated. And detribalization is not that you must now disassociate yourself from your tribe or so-called tribe, but it just means that see it as just a ceremonial thing that you belong to this ethnic group or not. But what is important to you is your national identity. Your national identity is what matters. It's the flag that hangs over all of you is what matters. You see, it is not those tribal pay allegiance. You play allegiance to your tribe, then you betray the nation right there. This is what has been happening in many African states, and there has to be a conscious way to defeat that through the educational system. When you write our history properly and go back, at least archaeology must be used in writing our history, no longer some kind of folklore and legend. Madingo people, where is your origin? We came somewhere from Mali in the desert, and then, Grebo people, where you come from? Our ancestors fell down from heaven, and then, you ask the Vai people, where you came from? We came from the sea, then from the sea. That's not history. These are folklores and legends. History must be written with archaeology, archaeological data. We must have sources of history. We must have written record. We must have carbon dating. When we are able to do that, you find out that the so-called Pele, Kisi, Gola, Loma, Madingo may are one people. The tongue just changed because people change settlement. Linguistically, you can fix all those people into just two groups. The Mande or Kwa group is finished. There's not a lot of ethnic group in that country. I've been telling people. The people will not marry my daughter because of this. They are not. You guys go and do DNA. I asked the Peleme, go do DNA. Madingo, go do DNA. Come and show me how different those DNA are. You are just the same people passing around, just one language. Other people settle here, the language have been changed. If you're not a linguist, you would think these people are speaking different languages. They are speaking the same tongue with different sound or dialect. If someone speaks French, another person speaks Spanish, another person speaks Latin, another person speaks Italian, you would think that they are speaking different languages. But guess what? When you are a linguist, you know that they are all speaking one language. The Italian does not understand the Frenchman, but really they are speaking the same language. It's a language that came out of the mother language called Latin. The same has happened in Africa. All the languages you see in Liberia, when you trace them, they all trace to one mother language. So when we are able to get that mother language, then we are telling you, what the hell are you talking about 16 tribes? You are one people. This is how you defeat tribalism. You defeat it scientifically, academically, with logical arguments. You see? So when people begin to know that the ancestral history is one, they know that they have common ancestors, then the sentiment, the of hate begin to reduce. They begin to now become allies. Because they are conscious, they read it in the books every day. So the education should focus on the ancestral history, the things that unite us in the antiquity, not those that divide us in our colonial history. If you are able to do that, you create national consciousness in a second. So these are things our leaders should focus on to build a nation. And all of our Liberians, we have to participate in building this powerful nation, land of liberty. God bless Liberia. God bless every Liberian anywhere around the world during their hustle. May the motherland be prosperous. May it be useful to all of us. And may we have God-fearing leaders, righteous leaders who are focused, leaders who are patriotic, leaders who are focused, leaders who are sound, leaders who are really, really in love with the people, who love the people sincerely, and those who want the dignity of every black man to be restored. May we have such leaders. With that, family, I say thank you for watching Focus on Liberia and Roundtable Africa. We will see you again next week.
We are Liberians. Liberia is our home. Liberian people. Liberia.